Hey traders, welcome back to another daily profit and loss recap video. Today is Tuesday, May 23rd, and I locked in $1,504 in profits with 2 winning trades. And in this video, I'm going to break down these trades and explain my thought process behind them. So hopefully you can learn something and apply it to your own trading. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start with the first trade, which was BVS. So here's the chart for BVS. Very quickly before getting into the trade itself, I just want to go over to the Market Master group very quickly to explain why this was even on my radar in the first place. And that's because of the trade plans that were posted in the Market Master group. I came up with these trade plans and shared them last night with the Market Master group. And BVS was in them because it had a very similar setup to the stock WKEY. And both of them had an inside bar setup on their daily charts. If we take a look at BVS, we can see this is the main bar here, this big green candle to the upside with strong volume. And then the following day, which was yesterday, there is the inside bar setup because this candle is completely within the range of this previous day's candle. That's what I mean by inside bar, and a lot of times these setups are really good for a continuation once the price then breaks above the high of this inside bar, which in this case happens to be 214. Okay, so this morning I posted an alert then to notify the chat that I was getting into a starter position as this inside bar breakout was starting to set up. And if we take a look at the chart, that was at about $2.14 down here. I took a starter position. This was trading on pretty thin volume, so I wasn't able to build into a full position really in this trade. I added a few hundred shares at a time throughout this move, and I had an average price of about $217, I believe, with 1,600 shares. I then was locking in profits up here in this move in the 230s. Taking a quick look at the daily chart, the reason that I was locking in profits in the 230s is because of the fact that the high of this initial big move to the upside here was 248. So I had a good feeling that this was going to run into the 240 area, turn it into potential resistance, and start to pull back. And that's exactly what ended up happening. So instead of holding through that pullback, I always just like to lock in profits into these key levels of potential resistance. So when it was all said and done on that specific trade, I made $258 in profits. Nothing crazy, but a very solid stress-free move with a relatively small position. So I can't complain about it being a relatively small profit. The next trade was my bigger trade for the day. This was with the stock HEPA. So much like BVS, this was also in the Market Master Group trade plans. And the reason for that is because HEPA was a big mover the previous day. So the trade plans were that this remained strong into the close, and this stock has a history of multi-day runs. You can determine that by simply looking at the daily chart and seeing, how often it spikes up and then comes crashing back down versus how often it spikes up and continues to run for multiple days at a time. This stock happens to do the latter. So I knew that this stock has a potential for a continuation on Tuesday, which is today. And what I was looking for was the $16 resistance area from Monday to turn into some support for Tuesday and use that as a potential area for a dip buy for it to then push back up and retest the $19.38 high. So taking a look at the intraday chart here, what we see on the 1-minute chart is that here at the market open, it does pull back into the 16s. It starts to form a little bit of support above that $16 area, which is a bullish sign. I missed out on this initial entry here. I actually didn't get in until the 18s as it was then pushing through VWAP and volume was picking up. In fact, my initial trade actually wasn't until $18.42, I believe. So as you can see with that initial trade here at $18.42, it pulled all the way back down to a low then of $17.72. So I held through around an 80-cent per share pullback on this initial trade. And the reason that I wanted to mention this is because one of the things that I've talked about time and time again in these profit and loss recap videos is the fact that position sizing and scaling in and out of trades is so important. If I would have went in with a full position right there in the 1840s, odds are my max loss would have been hit during this pullback. But because I took a small position to start off with, I wasn't too worried about this pulling back down because of the fact that it then bounced right off of VWAP, turned the VWAP into some support, and I started to then add some more shares into this trade as it was holding VWAP again. I ended up with a kind of weird position size. I had 1,231 shares in this trade, and that's just because I had a limit order to get filled and I was trying to push this up to 1,500 shares, but I only got a partial fill on that before it started to pick back up. And I ended up locking in my profits here as it was popping back up into this early morning resistance area in the mid-19s. Also, if we take a look at the previous day, as well as the extended hours, we can see that the mid to high 19s was a bit of a resistance area from the previous day's close. So I was expecting it to pull back from there. I didn't necessarily know that it was going to pull all the way back down towards the lows, but what I was looking for was to lock in profits into that move into resistance, and then potentially if it started to set up for another trade, I would have added back into this and then hopefully had a nice run back up through $20 to 21, 22, and so on and so forth. But on that trade, I was able to make $1,245 in profits, taking my total for the day to $1,504. I would say that today was really solid, much better than yesterday, and it was a lot less stressful. Everything kind of went in my favor pretty quickly as soon as I got into those positions, and that is obviously what you want to happen when you're getting into a trade. So very quickly, I just wanted to also give a couple examples of some opening range breakouts that we saw today. Opening range breakouts are posted every single day in the Market Master group with their breakout levels, of course. And HTCR, for example, had an opening range breakout level of $2.05. So if we take a look at the morning price action here, we can see the reason that this was the breakout level is because that $2.05 area is the high of the first 5-minute candle. So this had a really solid opening range breakout as it pushed through that 205 level. It then consolidated above the VWAP and then started to ramp back up all the way into this daily chart resistance area here in the 320s. So there was some really solid potential on that trade to make 30, 40, even 50% just from getting into that opening range breakout. At that point in time, I was already in my trade with BVS and I was already looking to get into the trade with HEPA. So I kind of did miss out on this breakout. I believe some of the traders in our chat were able to catch this trade though, which I'm happy to hear. OCEA was another really solid opening range breakout this morning with an opening range breakout level of $8.15. We can see it pushes straight through that 815 area here, much like HTCR. It holds above VWAP, consolidates, pushes through the highs, and then starts to ramp up a little bit later on in the morning. So these two examples alone prove that if you are day trading and you're not keeping track of these opening range breakout levels, you're missing out on some really solid potential returns. And that's why I make sure to post these levels every single morning in the Market Master group. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope you found some value in it and learned something about some of the trades that I placed myself. If you did, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you want to, come join us and hear about the stocks that I'm trading in real time. There's going to be a link down below in the description to get signed up to the Market Master group. But anyway, thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed and good luck with your trading.